So this is Ewaldus versus Eccoedo. This is basically the finals of the loser bracket of Pod One. I thought this would be a particularly good match to commentate on because I was beaten by both of these guys. So I've seen both these decks pretty closely, analyzed both these decks. So we have a should be a pretty interesting match. The capture of Eccoedo's deck may prove just a little bit too much for Ewaldus. Plus the purge and the speed. Um, that said, there's still that hypnotic command and the steal that Ewaldus has. So it's going to be, I think, a pretty good match. I'm gonna, on the face of it, I just give a slight edge to Eccoedo's deck. But a lot of it comes down to the variance of cards and other things. There's just so much speed in Eccoedo's deck, and the lack of artifact control in Ewaldus' deck also. So Ewaldus comes out with a Frankus. Interesting. That happened really quick. Eccoedo played an Infernus, which actually purged nothing because nothing was in discard, but then blew that up with an Implosion, and then archived it with Stirring Grave. So Ewaldus brings out his Speed Sigil and plays out a Dodger to fight into this game is happening very, very fast. These are very fast players. Fought into Hystricog, and so Eccoedo went back into Logos, quickly ran through some Lethalogicas, Eclectic Inquiry, and an Odd Claw. Got himself into check, forged. Ewaldus ran back with Spirit's Way, take hostages, and discarded Protect the Weak, putting himself at 3 amber. Eccoedo is now in Saurian, discards his Axiom, plays out a Faust, and reaps with him, and then plays out a Damosaurus, who has a play effect where he could exalt to do 3 damage, which he chose not to do, and a destroyed effect of Steal 1. That Speed Sigil is really impacting things where we now have a Zizix coming out who immediately reaps and archives an Urchin. Then we have Tunk and Yilix Dominator coming out. So I think Eccoedo needs to soon worry about the possibility of that of Hypnotic Command. He's bringing out a pretty solid disboard right now. He has purged using Infernus, Pawn Sacrifice, and Take Hostages to bring Ewaldus down to 1. Brings out a Cinder as well. Played an Implosion to blow up Damosaurus, which stole 1 and killed Zizix the Many. Ewaldus goes to Sanctum. So we're less than 5 minutes into the game and we're already on turn 5. This is a very fast moving game. He plays Harder They Come to Purge Cinder, plays Begone, which is going to uh, uh, kill. Oh, he used it to gain Amber instead of killing Infernus. And then he played out a Staunch Knight to kill Faust. Eccoedo plays the mutagenic serum, immediately plays out a Professor Terito and Reaps, which gains him another card, and then a Cyberclone and purges Tunk. And brings himself into check with 7. So the pace of this game is pretty blistering, but Eccoedo is very much in control. Ewaldus plays an Irradiated Amber, does 3 damage to all creatures because of the amber, the amount of amber that Eccoedo has. Plays out a Grabber Jammer, uses that to fight into Terito. And then discards Key Abduction, which I honestly am a little surprised by that. I guess he was moving him out of check. But he still gave up an Amber on that. I'm a little confused by that play. So Eccoedo goes into Saurian, plays a Curse of Vanity to exalt, and then both his Charbaldus or whatever this guy is, and then uses Damosaurus to exalt and kill the Grabber Jammer. He's also brought out a pretty substantial board with both Scylla and Charbaldus, and an Amphora Capture. We now have Numquid the Fair coming out, which is a pretty good response to that. So he's going to, Ewaldus is going to be able to destroy, even out that board, and regain a lot of that exalted or captured amber. So Ewaldus brings himself up to 6 and into check. Heals himself with that Hollow Blaster. But he is behind Eccoedo pretty substantially. Eccoedo is now in check for key 6. Or key 3, excuse me, with 6. And in Logos plays a Academy training on Infernus and is just running up to 9. Still has multiple creatures on the board, up to 12, 13 with the Reap of Cumex, and yeah, Reaps with Cyberclone. So up to 14. Ewaldus is going to run Shadows, but I don't see, knowing Ewaldus's deck, I just don't see a response here that can. He does not have it too much to protect to bring down the Amber at this level. So Eccoedo is going to take this game at a final key cost, final count of 3-0.